Welcome to the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more exciting stories from Reddit. Story 1. My girlfriend just gave birth to our first child. I know I'm not the biological father and I revealed I knew as soon as she gave birth. I'll try to keep this short because I'm planning to go to a bar soon. I found out when she was about 6 months along. The guy, Brian, approached me at my work. "Are you Sarah's boyfriend?" I said yeah and asked what he wanted. He said he was sorry that he had slept with her and swore he didn't know that she was with someone. I don't believe that. He then pulled out his phone to show the texts between them. They had been sleeping together or linking up for at least a year. Then she found out she was pregnant and they came to an agreement to just pretend the baby was mine. In return, she wouldn't lose her perfect life and he wouldn't be responsible for a baby. I knew it was weird. We had been having problems trying for a baby and all of a sudden she got pregnant so easily. But he explained that he had been thinking about it and he recently became a Christian. He said that he couldn't live his life knowing that I was living a lie while his child didn't know their real father. So yeah. I told him I'd keep in touch, and to not say that he said anything just yet. I've had a lot of time to think but ultimately I decided to wait until she gave birth. To hurt her in her most vulnerable moment. I'll spare the details, but she went into labor, baby was born, and was taken to the NICU to be monitored for a bit. What should have been a beautiful moment of me holding my baby, was the most heartbreaking time of my life. Just knowing he was not mine hurt me. Once she was sewn up and comfortable I started packing up my stuff to leave. She asked where I was going and I just told her. I know I'm not baby's name's father. You can act all shocked but I know. Just ask Brian to come, I'm positive he'll sign the birth certificate. Then I left. She's been calling my phone over and over, even sending texts as I type this, and has even gotten her sister to call me a few times. It was hard pretending these last few months but I think I'm satisfied. I feel really heartbroken though. I was planning to propose to her on the day our baby was born. I was gonna make her the happiest woman ever. Oh well. I'm going to go get shit-faced now. Small update, head hurts, but I'm home and safe. I wasn't really expecting this to gain as much traction as it did but I'll clear up a few things. Brian is going to be in the baby's life if it's his. I don't care what anyone says, I'm sure the kid isn't mine. I'll go get tested but me and Brian have been in contact since last night and there isn't a doubt in my mind. For those of you calling me a psychopath or whatever, I don't really care. You'll all forget about this post in a day anyway, while I'll have to live with this shit for the rest of my life. What I did wasn't amazing but I don't care. All I ever did was treat her amazing and this is how she pays me back. If you think this is fake, go read something else. Doesn't matter to me. Update. Hi everyone. I just wanted to start by saying I would have updated sooner but it takes a bit to get test results back. I've also been working on myself in the time being. Thanks for all the support. I'll cut to the chase. I am not the father. But I already knew that already deep down. Brian and the baby are a match so that pretty much answers that question. He's very excited to be a dad, even despite the circumstances. We've kept in touch this whole time and he's actually a really great guy. Goes to church now, volunteers at shelters, etc. I'm not sure if we'll continue to stay in touch after this but I wouldn't mind getting a drink with him every once in a while. I hope the kid does great in life. He should with Brian as his dad. As for Sarah, around the time I posted she had asked Brian to be with her officially since there was nothing to hide. As far as I know he has not taken her up on that offer and just wants to co-parent for the sake of being in his kid's life. I think that's very smart of him honestly. Me and her have talked as well. We talked about where it all went wrong. She felt as though I wasn't there for her fully and just felt unfulfilled. Which I understand. I wasn't always the best guy but I treated her the best I could. I guess it just wasn't meant to be. She started crying and I did give her a hug but I made sure she knew it wasn't cause I cared about her. She's offered to stay friends and for me to visit if I want but I declined. I'm not really interested in keeping up with her and her kid but I did give her the stuffed animal I was planning to give our kid someday as a gift. She's been staying with her mom, and has fully moved out her stuff. She asked me to keep her number but I blocked her the same day she finished moving out. So it's just me now. I'm not gonna lie, my heart has been super heavy. But I think I'll be okay. There's a cute girl at my work and we've been talking. She's a single mom and has been awesome so far. I explained that I wanted to go slow cause of my recent breakup and she understands. We've hooked up once or twice, nothing serious yet. I just wanna be by myself for now, but I'll likely give her a shot when I'm ready. That's it for now. I'm depressed, but I'm working out now at least. I never want to talk to Sarah and will likely never see her again. It sucks cause she was such a big part of my life, but that's gone now. Thanks for all the support. I'll answer questions if you guys have more. Edit, just wanted to mention that I still don't feel bad about what I did. I can tell she's still hurting, but I definitely think it's deserved still. Story 2. I, 37M, found out my GF, 25F, cheated on me with my son, 20M, and I want to cut them both off, but they're begging me to forgive them both. Obligatory, not my main, throwaway in case anyone I know sees my details. I was a young dad, me and my now late wife had my son before we were even 17. She sadly died suddenly at 22 not long after we got married, and I've been a single dad since. It's been tough, but I think up until this I did my best. I haven't had time to have any relationships really up until I met her. I threw myself into being a dad and concentrating on my business. I'm not saying I've been a monk, just not had anything serious. Never anyone serious enough to introduce my son to. But just under 3 years ago, I met AJ. I wasn't expecting it, but before long I was head over heels. The first 6 months or so was more casual, but when we realized we loved each other we made it official. I was even planning to ask her to marry me next month on her 26th birthday. I was even going to ask my son to be my best man. I didn't introduce them at first due to not being sure how he'd take it, so we waited a while. But after they met last year, we've all hung out and everything was all good. Granted, this year they haven't seen each other much, due to lockdown and him being at uni, but I didn't think anything of that. I could see her much thus last month due to lockdown again. However, I've noticed as the past couple of weeks have gone on, she's been a bit quiet and moody. I've asked her and she out it down to being overwhelmed. Likewise, I have noticed it in my son being a bit withdrawn, but I assumed he's been busy with uni. When I finally saw her again this weekend, I really noticed, so I called her out on it. She broke down and admitted she cheated on me. Just like that. I was shocked. So I was trying to get it out of her and she admitted it was with my son. Just before lockdown started in November, she was out with her mates and she bumped into my son in the pub. They got pissed, shared a taxi, and ended up drunk and ducking. I basically threw her out there and then, saying I never want to see her again. She was begging me, pleading and making a scene and everything. I then asked my son to come over and I confronted him. He admitted it's true, it's a huge mistake, and is begging me to forgive him. I've told him he needs to stay at someone's house and don't want to look at him anymore. He's at my mom's. I haven't told her what he did, but she knows it's serious seeing as how close we have always been. She's been ringing me, sending me emails, texting me begging for another chance, and so has my son. I've packed up her stuff that she left here and left it in her front garden in a bin bag. I've even chucked her Christmas presents I've got her to let her enjoy them early. I'm absolutely distraught. They're the two people I loved most in the world. I wanted to marry her, maybe have kids, spend my life with her. Likewise, he was more than my son, he was my best friend. I sacrificed so much for him, to give him an amazing life. And they've both stabbed me in the back in the worst way. I don't think I'll ever forgive them ever again. They're welcome to each other as far as I'm concerned. I feel so hurt. Edit, I forgot to add, I've got myself booked in at the Clap Clinic. If I can't trust her to not cheat on me once, who knows how many times she's done it. Is there any more to do here, Reddit? Or is that the best course of action, cut them off and move on? Edit, for everyone saying next time, there's going to be no next time. I'm done with women, love, relationships, everything. Further edit, God, I miss my wife tonight. She should have been the one and only woman for me. They'll never make them like her again. TLDR, girlfriend cheated with my son and came clean. I threw her out, told my son to leave, and I never want to see them again. Update. I wasn't planning to originally do an update because of so many abusive comments/texts received last time, but on the other hand I had so much support, I thought I'd update those who have been supportive. So, I basically met up with AJ, my ex. I asked her the truth, what went on and was there anything else going on previously. She was really passionately saying no, it literally was a case of her having a drink with her mates and my son was in the pub and they got drunk together. When they were sharing a taxi, he admitted he liked her, made a pass, and that was it. She was saying things like she'd never ever do it normally, but because hadn't seen me for a little while and he reminded her of me so much that night, it just happened. I told her to stop blaming the booze or anyone else and she needs to own it, no one else. I also was honest with her, that she's the first person I've let in, loved since my ex-wife died, and I've been happier with her in the past 3 years than I was for years before that. I told her I was even going to propose to her. She broke down, telling me again how sorry she is and asking me for another chance and that she'll never forgive herself. I told her she needs to one day so she can learn from this, but that's it for us. I'm blocking her number, email, and I don't want any contact again, and I left. I feel much better for meeting her. As devastated as I am, I do feel like that's a bit of closure. Simply to see that I don't really hate her, but actually pity her, through not being able to control her alcohol or keep it in her pants. It's cost her a relationship with someone she cares about and likely will affect her relationships for years to come. Not that I don't think she's any less responsible or deserves the outcome like. It also helped me to truly see how immature she is. Before this, I was blissfully ignorant because I was happy. Now, it's made me really conscious of it. Never again. Now my son. I realized the other day when I made my post, I was very angry and the way I was typing it seemed like it was going to flat out disown him. But let me stress, he's my son, my flesh and blood, and I love him dearly. He's also my wife's son and I could never just get rid of him for her. But he has let me down and really hurt me massively, and I have lost not just all respect but trust in him. So I met him also and heard his side of the story. It was largely the same as hers, but the difference was he said she was being really flirty with him and she said he really reminded her of me, and that's when he told her he had a crush and made his move. I told him what I wrote out above, that I love him but have no respect for him or can trust him anymore. I told him also about my plans, that I was going to propose to her and even have him as my best man. He was gutted, just really silent, and started crying. I told him we need to have no contact for a while. He needs to get a job and not work with me at weekends like he does at the moment, and we need to talk to my folks to see if he can stay with them for a bit. But in order to do so, I want him to be a grown-up and tell them why to their face and deal with it as a grown-up. So I drove him there and made him tell them. They were devastated. Not just upset, but the look in my mum's eye, I'll never get over that. She told him how disappointed she was in him, and that she never thought he'd do something like this. I asked her if he can stay there for the foreseeable future but not for free. He has to pay his own way, proper board, contribute towards the bills, but his own food. She agreed out of respect for me. I also sat him down and shown him that I'd transferred over a large amount of money and explained that was the money I was saving for AJ's engagement ring, but seeing as what's happened, I want him to have that as a reminder and to use it to pay his grandparents' rent if no else. He was absolutely stunned at that, trying to give it me back. I told him if he does that, we definitely are done. We've agreed on no contact at least until Christmas, and then we all, me, him, my folks, could spend Christmas together. I've been largely reflecting the past few days. Mainly on me and why I went for AJ in the first place. I was extremely flattered when she asked me out, even though I'd never normally consider anyone that young. But in hindsight, she was same age as my wife when she died, same ethnicity, mixed race, and also even did the same sort of job. So I guess I went for it because she was like my late wife. Which honestly, makes me really sad. I know I can't blame anyone else for that. But it makes me realize also that she, AJ, was only my second ever serious relationship in my life. Like, imagine that, a 37-year-old guy having that little relationships that a girl 5 years older than my son is a huge chunk of my relationship experience. It also makes me miss my wife, massively. I've been just having a bit of me time the past few days, having an Alan Partridge marathon. That was mine and my wife's favorite thing to watch together. It helps me feel close to her when I'm down. Edited to add, I'm seeing if I can get in touch with my old therapist I was seeing after my wife died and making an appointment with him. I might see if he can take my son on too. Edit, a few people have pointed out we might not be able to see the same therapist due to a conflict of interest. I didn't think of that, so maybe I'll get a recommendation off him for someone else suitable. Thank you. I definitely need to work on myself before I ever date again. I think I have too many issues to be a good partner at the moment. And when I do, I'm not dating anyone her age again. I think I'll do a strictly 80s policy of only going for people born in the 80s and definitely no one born after 1989. Thank you and apologies for the wall of text. TLDR, confronted my son and cut contact with her and am having space from my son until at least Christmas. Working on myself and reflecting. Story 3. 4 months before the wedding, I found out fiance has been cheating on me. Let me start from the beginning here. Yesterday I met my fiance at our wedding venue for our 4-month out meeting to finalize details. We drove to the venue separately because she was leaving straight from work. Towards the end of the meeting she let me know her friend was dropping off her rental car and needed a ride home and asked if it would be okay. I said yes, thinking nothing of it as it wasn't that far from our home and I know her friend well. I get home and tried to get in touch with her for the next 3 hours. No answer. At approximate the 1:30 mark I texted her friend and asked if she had made it to her okay. I was very worried. My fiancé ends up coming home and says sorry it took longer than expected, she hung out with her friend for a bit before leaving. Okay, no biggie, just LMK next time please. Her friend gets back to me a few minutes later and says, sorry I couldn't make it to the venue, didn't see your fiancé tonight. I asked her why she would say this and she said she didn't know, she can't control what her friend says, and walked outside. I'm sketched out AF by this point. I have never done this, but I looked at her phone records. Yes, I did and don't regret it. I saw that when she went outside she called her friend that had texted me right after she went outside. I also saw an hour-long call with a number I didn't know on the way to the venue. I asked her what rental place they went to and multiple other questions. She had quick answers and they seemed legit. I thought maybe I'm crazy here, I need to chill and sleep on it. This morning I asked her to please see the text from her friend asking her to pick her up and I would apologize for questioning her the previous night. She said no. I said when I caught up to you yesterday on the way to the venue I saw you were on the phone, who was that? She said oh, that's the friend I picked up later on. That's when I knew for a fact she was lying. I said I looked at her phone records and knew that wasn't true. She then changed her story to say oh, I needed to meet up with a co-worker to discuss a patient. Who is the co-worker and why couldn't you discuss that over the phone? I need to show him the techniques in person, his name is Michael. Okay, I am sketched out beyond belief at this point, we never lie to each other. I asked to see the texts with Michael. She said wouldn't let me see. I said why not if there's nothing to hide? Are you having an affair? Do you not want to be together anymore? She pauses and proceeds to tell me all the things that are wrong with me. I work too much, I don't spend enough time with her, don't listen. I'm astonished at this point, all of this is news to me. I put 2 and 2 together at this point, I know something sketchy is going on. I again asked to see the texts. It took about a half hour of convincing to see these texts and they were crazy. Sexual in nature and talking a lot of shit about me. Also how she wanted to be with him and how they're essentially in love. She started this job 1.5 months ago, he is her co-worker. He is also 15 to 20 years older and divorced with multiple kids. I have been financially supporting her for the last few months as she got back on her feet and was working extra so she wouldn't have to pick up a part-time job. We own a house which we both live in with 3 dogs and a horse. Sorry for the novel, I am beside myself right now. I did not see this coming and we were going to get married in 4 months. Any advice would help. Update 1. As an update, I was finally able to sit down with her tonight and go over this. Again, she came in trying to blame me for what she did. Trying to justify the cheating and lying as a direct result of my lack of communication and listening. She said she wouldn't have had to start talking to this guy if I had been listening better. I spend too much time in the office working and don't dedicate enough time to her. I tried to explain that I was putting in extra hours to try and support her and the family financially while she was struggling so she wouldn't have to get a part-time job. She said she would have rather gotten a part-time job, which makes no sense to me. She was under the impression that because this was short-lived, 1 week she say, and they only made out once, that we could move past this. When I brought up the texts where she was trashing me and talking sexual with him, she deflected hard and I got nowhere with that. I told her that I'm not the reason that this is happening. She went too far and should have communicated with me or thought about the implications first. That I can never trust her again and this is all because of her actions. Whether she wants to try and justify this as my fault is up to her. At the end of this part it got a bit calmer. I said listen, we just really need to figure out the house we own jointly and the 3 dogs. We came to the conclusion that either I stay and buy her out or we sell and get new places. The dogs, one of us will get one, the other 2 DBD. So that's where this left off tonight and we'll continue to keep you all posted on progress. Curious what you all would do about the house. Financially I can support it alone, but it is nearly 3,000 square feet and 5 acres of land which was bought solely to have her horse. She is taking the horse when she leaves and boarding it at a barn. Update 2. Day 3, I was able to sit and have a 3-hour conversation with her tonight. We talked about our relationship and what led to what occurred. It started with her telling me what I did wrong in our relationship: lack of communication, spending too much time working and on my phone. I don't disagree with any of these things. My mindset behind working so much was support of the family. I run an e-commerce business on the side and am a one-man customer service center, and deals happen 24 hours a day. I am never not on the clock. I could have certainly been better about setting my phone aside and responding to people the next day. The lack of communication was on both ends, and a prime example of this is the fact that I was unaware she was unhappy with any of this. It was never communicated to me. She said she felt I would have gotten upset if she told me, but never gave me the chance to work on it. I am not a perfect person by any means, and many times I do or say things that are misinterpreted by her as rude. An example of this is a week or two ago I was trying to help her with a budget with her financial problems to try to set up a plan to get her on track. To note, I work in the financial industry and do this for clients all the time. She had mentioned that she owed me maybe $1,000 and she would get that back to me next paycheck. I said something like, I think it's a little bit more than that, let's go through the transfers I have made to our joint account. It ended up being over $5,000. My purpose for doing this was not to make her feel bad, but to realize how much I have been contributing. She took this as me trying to humiliate her. Was just trying to help, and maybe my timing was off. She told me I have been too focused on money lately, but I was only trying to make sure we were going to be okay. We still had quite a bit to pay for the wedding, and my budgeting mentality was on overload, trying to make sure we had enough. The fact that she keeps trying to justify what she did by attributing that as a direct correlation to my flaws really bothers me. She keeps telling me that she is surprised I would throw away 7 years of a relationship away like this. I keep having to remind her that I didn't throw it away, she did with her actions. She told me that I told too many people too quickly and we could have resolved all of this between us. She also said that she wouldn't have had to talk to someone else if I was a better listener and communicator. I have finally determined the extent of the affair, which I actually believe based on the texts that I read. They began talking 1 to 2 weeks before via text. I don't know if they had met up before outside of work, but this time around he had asked her to the park to play basketball and talk. She met up with him and they ended up making out. I truly believe it didn't go further than this yet. But it would have in the near future, I am sure. She says he is not her boyfriend. She also took off tonight and I have no idea where she is at, assuming with him or a girlfriend. It is an awkward living situation, but I am hoping this resolves in the near term. I do think she wants me to get back with her and try to repair that. I think that the main issue was a lack of communication that manifested for a long time. We got into a routine, lived our boring simple life, and meanwhile this problem was never discussed and grew over time. She acted out instead of talking to me and also lied to my face / talked a lot of shit about me behind my back. She can be very sneaky and I don't think I can fully trust her again. Obviously this would be the easiest thing to do, but I don't think I would ever be truly happy. Understanding the root cause has helped me feel better. If nothing else, it will allow me to address my personality flaws / communication issues and see things from another perspective. I started hitting the gym today and will keep a routine going. I also plan on picking back up on studying for my CFP designation. I took the week off of work to focus on my mental health. Today I called the wedding venue and officially cancelled the date. We were able to get some money back but lost a bit unless the date can be resold to another couple, unlikely. I also spoke with her parents again to keep them apprised. They live far away and I am sure are worried sick. I continue to let them know everything is fine and calm and they don't need to worry about their daughter. I did some research and with interest rates where they are today I will not be able to find a comparable house for the mortgage I pay for this, can barely find an apartment for less nowadays. I think my best option is to try and buy out her share and have her find an apartment. She seems agreeable at this time. We will have an appraiser out to assess value and see what half of the equity would be and if that is doable for me. My questions to you all are, does this change your mind at all about the situation? Am I handling this properly? If not, what should I be doing different? Update 3. It's been nearly a month since this whole situation went down and I owe you all an update. Has been a very busy, emotional, and eventful month. So I am not going to lie, the few days after this happened to me I was a pathetic mess groveling to get back with this cheating POS. It's embarrassing to admit, but it happened, and it was all part of the process of moving on. While in this vulnerable state I tried everything I could to do things right, make things better, but nothing worked. I was actually told that she had to make a decision, me or him, and she did the right thing choosing him. I think that's when I woke up and realized I had let my self-worth go down the drain and I needed to take a step back and really focus on me and what was best for me. It is hard after 7 years of doing everything for someone else, to focus on your own needs, but that's exactly what I have been doing since. I moved our joint savings accounts to my individual checking account. I did the math of what was owed to me and transferred half of the balance back to the joint account for her to take. I have been working out every day since this happened. It makes me feel good to not only improve how I look, but helps me continue to think clearly. I've gone suit shopping, for a massage, out with friends and family. Not only was this relationship isolating of my friends and family, which should have been a huge red flag, but I never did anything for myself. Buying clothes is just not something I would do. I was always worried about providing for my sig other and animals. I've been seeing a therapist, for the first time in my life, on a weekly basis. It helps me talk things out in my decision making. It is something I will probably continue to do after this situation resolves, just to continue to improve myself. Now for the bigger items, I am still living in the house with the ex. She is sleeping in the guest bedroom and we are at a point where the only communication is, "Did you feed the dogs?" I think she is a terrible person, and no matter what I say, in her mind, this is my fault. To accuse someone of being a bad communicator and then using that as an excuse to then not communicate her feelings to me and cheat is her being a hypocrite and an easy out in her delusional mind. I stopped bothering trying to reason with her because she is unreasonable. I have been keeping the ball rolling with listing the house for sale. I contacted an agent, had them come, and was happy with the proposed sale price. She then requests that I contact 2 other agents and get their opinions, one of which was recommended by her friend. Yes, I made all the calls, set up all the appointments and met with these people. This is how the relationship always was, and even though it's not fair, I have been willing to do it all to get the hell out of here. After meeting with all 3, we ended up going with the first agent. Pictures were taken on Sunday and the house was listed for sale Sunday night. Open house next Saturday. Already getting a lot of attention on the re-sites. She will be taking the horse to a barn somewhere TBD. I had a conversation about the dogs and offered to take one or none. She said she would take all 3 of them to keep them together. They are a happy bunch and I don't want to fight over taking one if that will break them up. It also selfishly allows me to pursue a clean start. Unexpectedly, I met someone about a week ago that I've been spending quite a bit of time with. I have no false expectations here but am enjoying hanging out with her. She's been through a similar situation in the past and has been helping me through this. It's really eye-opening speaking with a kind, thoughtful and independent woman. It makes me realize what a narcissist my ex was. Completely self-centered, dependent and manipulative. I should have listened to the warnings from family and friends long ago. I definitely fell into the trap of being in a simple routine. I wasn't enjoying life, it was just an easy situation to be in. Nice house, lots of land, great animals, didn't want to rock the boat. So I just continued on. You don't really realize this until you take a step back and truly reflect. Some might say it was wasted time, but I am really using this as a learning experience. I will not ignore red flags in the future. I will not fall into the simplicity trap. I will continue to maintain relationships with friends and family. I just want to end this with a huge shout out to everyone on here that commented on my original post. I posted on Reddit because I had no idea what to do. Those of you that took the time to try and help a complete stranger on Reddit are amazing. I read every single comment and they all helped me get to where I am now. I am looking forward to the next chapter in my life, wherever it takes me. Thank you all, truly.